Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Quiz Marketing Podcast. My name is Josh Hanum. I am the co-founder and CEO at Interact. Today, we have a very special guest. Candice Coppola is a business coach and online marketing expert and has a really, really cool quiz that I want to talk through. And she just told me that she has some other quizzes in the works. So I'm excited to talk about that. So thanks for being here, Candice.
Well, thanks for having me, Josh. I love all things quizzes, and I can't wait to sort of hack my quiz funnel with you and share more about how I make it work for my business.
Yeah, that'll be cool to kind of maybe diagnose if there is anything that you've seen in there where you're like, how does this work or that work? You have a very dialed in quiz already, so I doubt there's much that we'll be able to do, but it'll be interesting. So let's start at the same place that I always like to start with this, which is the results of your quiz. Whatever you want to share in terms of leads that it's brought in, if you are able to tie it back to sales, you don't have to share anything you don't want to share, but what has been the impact on your business?
Pretty significant, actually. Our quiz is our number one lead gen opt-in for our email list. And it has brought in more leads into our email list than any other opt-in that we have. And I think we have some really great opt-ins for our audience that are really dialed in, very niche. So they help to bring the right people to us. But our quiz is our number one opt-in. And it also is the number one opt-in that I think helps convert people from curious or even cold to warm buyers. Interestingly enough, I was doing some research before our interview today, as I should have if we're going to talk about my quiz. And one thing that I noticed was pretty much every single customer that's ever bought from us in any product has taken our quiz. And they've either found it and that's how they found us, or because we promote our quiz within our nurture sequence, encouraging them to take it. If they haven't, they take the quiz. And I think you can directly draw a line between them purchasing from us and having taken that quiz, because the quiz we designed is really meant to help create a connection with them, reveal something about them that we know that they may not, and also direct them to the right products that we have available.
I mean, there's like three things in there that are awesome, but I'll just dial into one, which is the fact that most or all of the folks that have bought from you have taken the quiz at some point. My immediate thought on that is like, do you feel like it helps create more connection with people? Like, what do you think is the through line there? Why most people have taken that quiz?
Well, we do a great job at promoting it for as an opt-in, and we also do a great job at promoting it from people who find us who then have opted in our nurture sequence. And so we have a special automation that checks to see if they've taken the quiz, and if they haven't, we send an email suggesting that they do. So the likelihood that somebody will take it is pretty high. Not everybody takes it, but I think the reason why it's part of the success of becoming a paying customer is because we know our ideal client really, really well. And people just want to be acknowledged and have their experience validated. And when you are looking for courses or products or people to help you solve a problem in your life or in your business, having somebody validate your experience is really, it really helps you to connect with that person and then see them as the expert who can help you. So I definitely think that the quiz helps to nurture. It helps to create a personal connection because the results are fun to receive. And we could talk about what the quiz is and some of the results if you'd like, but they're fun to receive. And the person who reading it feels really good about themselves in reading the results, and they feel seen and acknowledged and validated.
Yeah, yeah. So I know what your quiz is. I've gone through it many times, but for the audience listening, let's take a step back and start there because I have specific questions about, especially like how you knew how to validate people through the quiz. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's like level 99 audience knowledge, right? It's like that
Yeah.
is so hard. And if you get it wrong,
Mm-hmm.
it's very wrong. Like you
Right.
validate incorrectly, people are like, that's not me. So it's like one of those things where it's like you're taking the big shot. If you miss, then
Mm-hmm.
you get nothing. But anyways, let's take a step back. What is the concept of your quiz? And again, like the title of the quiz is another one of those areas where it's like it's a 1-0, it's a binary. You either get it right or you get it wrong. So
Mhm.
how did you know what the concept should be? And then specifically, like what is the actual title and how did you know that would resonate with people?
Yeah. Well, I created my quiz way, way back in 2020 before Interact AI had AI and it was just Interact. So we had to figure this all out for ourselves. And I was fortunate enough to hire somebody to help me with my quiz, a copywriter who was an expert in quiz creation. And so we worked together to develop the quiz. I'm a business coach for wedding pros. I help wedding pros build a profitable business with purpose. And I wanted the quiz to connect them to free resources, tools, and paid resources that could help them in their business. And I identified that I worked with specific pros at certain stages of business. Either they were just starting out in their first year in business, or they were kind of in those growing pain years, 2 to 3 years in business, or they had experienced those growing pains and they were in next level challenges. So people who were a little more experienced. And we decided to take those avatars and create a quiz that helped them to understand what their strategy was for success in the wedding industry. And we tied it to one thing I love, which is cocktails. I think that the cocktails are fun. And it's always nice when you can kind of pair a quiz idea with something that people like or something that people can understand. So whether it's cocktails or a TV character or something like that, I just love the correlation. We decided cocktails because I have a course called The Client Cocktail, and cocktails have kind of made their way into my brand. So we decided that our quiz title would be Your Brand Strategy Cocktail for Success. And once we decided on that title, then we started to develop the questions and then also the results.
That's a very interesting approach. I like it a lot. And it kind of ties two types of quizzes together. So
Mm-hmm.
you have levels in one sense, right? Like advanced, intermediate, beginner, right? Like just starting out, growing pains,
Yep.
and then like past the growing pain stage. And then you also have personality types, which are correlated to cocktails. So it's almost like you have three things. You have like a fun thing, you have like a archetype personality thing, and then you have a level thing
Mm-hmm.
all together. And I wonder if that's part of why it's so powerful because any of those three things can be appealing to people in their own light, but then you tie them all together and you've got like a trifecta. So I just want to highlight that because that's a cool way to approach this.
Yeah,
So
we stumbled on a pretty good idea, I think, and well, it's worked really well because our quiz is almost 5 years old, and it continues to do really well, and it just goes to show you that with the right quiz and the right lead magnet, you could create something, and then it can just work for you for years without too much tinkering or tweaking.
yeah, I totally agree. And you're able to kind of emulate the conversation that you would have with
Mm-hmm.
people, which
Yep.
is really powerful because you can specify exactly what the wording is. Like, you mentioned AI, and AI is kind of coming on the scene now. You got like agents and stuff. And I think the difference with what you have that's really, really specific and you know exactly how everything's worded and exactly what the pathways are is
Mm-hmm.
that it makes people feel more seen and validated than an AI can because the AI is
Mm-hmm.
going to just kind of guess based on the whole world of knowledge. And you could try to make it more specific, but it's not going to be as specific as what you've built. So if we move past the concept, so you've
Mm-hmm.
got the cocktails, which are at the end, which are correlated to the kind of personality type, but also the level, and then you've got the questions. Which one did you do first? Did you do the outcomes first or the
We
questions?
did. Yeah, we did the results first, and then the results helped to shape the questions. And how we came up with the results was, first of all, knowing who our ideal clients are. So we have, and what metric we wanted to acknowledge as like the sort of guiding pillar behind the results, which was number of years in business was our deciding factor. And that happens to be the question that triggers the result. So based on the number of years in business, will trigger your result. But we started with the results next. And this was a little bit of a longer process. And this is where the copywriter came in really handy because we worked together on a document called Voice of Customer. And if you don't have a Voice of Customer document in your business, you really should. It's going to help you even utilize AI so much better and smarter in your business. And essentially, what it is it's taking things that your customer has shared with you, testimonials, emails, maybe DMs that you've received where they're sharing their struggles, they're sharing their questions, their challenges. If you're a coach like me, this could even be verbatim things they've said to you in a coaching call. And testimonials are also really important because it shows the transformation that you get people, the results that you deliver, and also what they value most about the work that you do. And if you put this all in a document, you can begin to see the different challenges they face. And if you can actually then arrange them based on the number of years they've been in business, or these sort of buckets you've identified will be the results, then you can really begin to understand your customer. And so we base the quiz results on our customer's voice. And we just pulled the things that they've said to us, the challenges that and how they've expressed it in their own words. And we use that to drive the results copy.
Yep. Yeah, I think I echo that 100%. If you can write down all the things that your customers say in their words and really dial in that voice and the words that they use, the way that they like to talk, the way that they like to, the like phrases and idioms, like it's all so specific, and it's these
Mm-hmm.
subtle psychological cues that show I understand you as a person and the way that you live in the world that you live in and
Mm-hmm.
inhabit. And that's like the thing that builds that rapport rather than just saying, here's the best way, because there is no such thing as the best way. It's just like,
No.
what does your audience actually want?
Yeah.
Who did you work with? We don't gatekeep over here, so we
Oh,
can say
okay,
names.
good. I worked with Zafira Rajin, who's a
Ah,
copywriter.
yes.
I loved her work, and she did an amazing job on my quiz. She really took the time to get to know my brand voice as well. She hung out in the comment section on my Instagram. She really paid attention to how I wrote captions and blog posts and how I spoke on my podcast. And she used that. It really influenced to how she wrote my voice, the results, while also using that voice of customer to speak in the customer's voice, where we might be describing their challenges. We would describe it how they describe it. We would describe the transformation they want or the results they want in the way they would describe it. So it really influenced her copy. I learned so much from her through this process too. It definitely transformed how I started writing copy and the things I started doing based on my work with her in this quiz.
Yeah, she's great. I know that she's done a number of quizzes for high
Mm-hmm.
ticket clients and people that have quizzes that have been taken a lot of times. So she's got
Yep.
like every word dialed in. So that's awesome. And then I was also going to ask you, you mentioned earlier, this is kind of off topic, but you queue an email in your email software. So what email
Mm-hmm.
software do you use to do that?
Right. I use Active Campaign
Hmm.
for my email marketing. And I think that this automation would pretty much work with any email software, whether you're using Flowdesk or something robust like Active Campaign. And essentially, the way it works is when somebody joins our email list, they go through a nurture sequence. They can only go through it once. So they might fill out another form somewhere. It doesn't mean they go through it again. And when they join us, they go through a nurture sequence, and there's a phase within that sequence after a few emails, which is over a couple of weeks of nurturing, sharing more about us, sharing more about me, where we check to see if they have the quiz tag added to their profile. And if they don't have that quiz tag, then they're sent an email suggesting they take the quiz. If they do have the quiz tag, well, they just skip that email because we don't want to tell them to take something they've already taken. So it's a really smart automation, and it's pretty simple to do. And I think most email marketing softwares will let you do that.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like Active Campaign, and that integration is really smooth. And
Yep.
so it's nice to be able to do all that segmentation on the back end.
Yep.
Um, and last question on this quiz before we get into your future quizzes, but
Mm-hmm.
how did you then work backwards from the results into the questions? And then specifically, I wanted to ask you about the imagery that you use in your questions,
Mm-hmm.
because it has a seamless like design profile, and a lot of people struggle with that. Like the images don't really match each other or don't really
Right.
match the overall vibe of the quiz, but yours do. So how did you think through both the copy and the images?
Well, we approached the questions from a few different angles. The first was obviously we wanted one trigger question to keep it pretty easy on our end for calculating the results. And so we knew what that trigger question was, which was the number of years you were in business. We also wanted to add in some personality questions that were just fun for people to answer. And what we did is we just pulled from some of my own interests and some things that I know about wedding pros and maybe what they like to do. So, like, one question is, after a Saturday wedding, what are you doing on a Sunday? And the options are, like Netflixing and chilling, going for a walk, drinking a big glass of wine. And we selected images that were appealing to the eye because part of being an online marketer, and for me specifically in the wedding industry, is the eye is what buys. So whenever I am creating something online and there needs to be a visual component to it, which is 100% of the time. I'm really thoughtful about the images that we choose. I want them to either help somebody buy something with their eye or make a selection or make a decision, or I want there to be this element where they can see themselves in it. So inclusive images or just imagery where they can see themselves. It represents who they are. So when we're choosing images that help them buy with their eye. And so we chose some personality driven questions for them to answer. And then the final bucket was like, what questions can we ask for some data mining or just to kind of get some information from them about where they're at in their business or what their struggle points are. And I'm fortunate enough where I have a lot of data mining built into my business. For instance, when somebody joins my email list, I ask them to segment themselves based on the business they have. Are they a planner, a photographer, a videographer? And when they click a link, it will add a tag to them, an active campaign. But they come to a landing page and I ask them, like, hey, penny for your thoughts. Every month, I choose one person to win a $25 gift card to Amazon. Would you mind filling out this survey for me and just sharing some information about you? And I have them fill out this data mining questionnaire. It's pretty easy to fill out, just a few questions where they might have to actually write a response. Most of it is multiple choice or yes or no. And so I collect all this data year over year over year about my customer. So I have a lot of data mining things built into my business, but a quiz is a great place to mine for data and just ask yourself, what are some things that I would like to know about my customer? But the data points that you choose, they need to be things that people want to answer. And I think it's just like in how you phrase the question and also in the results. Sometimes you confuse data with personality. So maybe you know that if somebody chooses like they're drinking wine after a long wedding, like what that says about your customer versus if they are binge watching The Bachelor or something. And those are questions on our quiz, but I'm just kind of making this up. But anyway, you can kind of fuse the two together and then get a little personality in addition to just learning more about who your customer is, helping you improve that voice of customer.
Yep, I totally agree with that. If you can fuse the two, where it's like something fun, personal, something about their life, but it also helps you to build the profile of which result you're going to ultimately give them,
Yep.
then that's kind of the holy grail of quiz questions. It's like you
Yep.
want it to be personal. If it's overly personal, it doesn't actually help you profile. If it's overly profiling, then it just feels weird, like invasive. You don't want to answer that. So you need to
Mhm.
be in the middle somewhere. So that's awesome. Um, well, this is a very cool kind of story of that quiz and how you've implemented it. It sounds like it's very integrated into the whole business. So now I'm curious what you're thinking about with these new quizzes. Like, where are they going to fit in and what are the concepts there if you want to share?
I would love to because I'm really excited about these. And I feel like if I share them, then it's going to hold me accountable to make sure that they're launched this year because
Perfect.
they've been on my to-do list since 2014, 2024, yeah, last year. So I really want to launch these and put some of our resources behind the quizzes to get them created. So I am looking to launch two quizzes that are not top of funnel, but instead, I want to launch a quiz that helps somebody actually purchase something from my shop. So, the first quiz idea that I have to launch this year is when somebody opts in to get a coupon code for my shop for wedding planners, where I have tools, resources, swipe files, playbooks. I want to make sure that I can almost guarantee that they'll buy because we all sign up for coupon codes. It doesn't mean we actually use them. So I have this idea in that coupon code funnel to place a quiz and for that quiz to help connect them to the right tools that they need right now that are available in our shop. I think sometimes when we're buying things for our business and we have a lot of options, we can get a little analysis paralysis or wonder, like, okay, where do I start, or what's going to help me have the most impact? And my goal is to actually use this quiz to align them with the right resources that will help them where they are in their business right now. So that's the first quiz idea I have.
I like that a lot. I mean, I was just before we jumped on this writing up an article about decision tree quizzes, which
Mm,
I would imagine is going to be the right logic system for that, right? Like if
yep.
this, then you see these set of products. If that, then you see these other set of products.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so powerful because in that case, you're just asking people like the exact questions you need to know. It's like completely profiling, but that's what they want at that stage.
Mm-hmm.
And I was profiling a quiz from the Car Mom. She does these like car reviews. It's really cool. It like goes like super in depth about every car. And so she has a quiz that literally recommends a car, which is crazy because there's so many
That's awesome.
cars. So I think that one's gonna crush it because
I think so too. Yeah, the
it,
whole goal is to help first connect our customers with the right tools and resources that can help them actually make progress wherever they're at in business. And then, of course, we want to increase our sales in the shop. And I think this is a really smart way to do it. But what's kind of cool, and this is where I've started to create this quiz. So I'm kind of like in the middle of making it. But one cool thing with Active Campaign is that based on some of their answers and of course the results, we can even customize the email that they get and insert direct links to the actual products that we're recommending and turn off those canvases within the email if they don't have specific tags or they didn't give specific answers. So you can write one large email and kind of hide and show certain parts of it depending on how they answered in the quiz, which is so powerful. And I even think, like, now that we're workshopping this out, we can have follow-up sequences based on their quiz results that help to drive traffic to those products, help to educate. So thinking about, okay, we've shown them what the roadmap is. Why haven't they purchased? Well, maybe there's some objections we need to clear up in some next level emails after they take the quiz. So I think there's a really smart way in automation to help drive more sales to anybody who's listening who has products in a shop, a product based business. This could be a really cool quiz to launch.
yeah, and that thing that you just said of turning those canvases on and off within the
Yep.
email, within Active Campaign, that, I mean, that's just quintessential product recommendation
Mm-hmm.
quiz, you know, not 101. That's like advanced stuff because
Yeah.
most people don't get there, but it is incredibly powerful. Like you can legitimately just send people via email, like, hey, these are the products that I recommended for you. And those links go straight to, I don't know, what do you use for your checkout? Do you use like Kajabi or something like that?
Right. So for our shop, we actually use Shopify
Oh,
Lite paired with Show It for our shop.
very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that integration with Shopify because then you can just have the products be in those emails. I mean, you can put them on the results pages directly too,
Yep.
link to Shopify collection. And so that's how we typically have people do that setup. Um, that's very cool. I like that. I think that
Yeah.
one's going to do very well. And I'm
I think so
curious,
too.
maybe we'll have to do a follow up like a year from now and talk about like
Please.
the direct
Please.
sales from that one. That's cool.
Yeah. That would be super cool to see how that funnel pans out for sure.
Yeah, that's nice. What's the second one?
So, the second quiz we want to launch this year is a quiz for our customers inside my membership, the Planners Playbook. I have a monthly membership for planners that helps them to grow their planning business. And one thing that I've noticed is that because we've had this membership for almost 4 years now, we have so much content. We have so much content for people to consume that if you've ever joined a membership that has been around for a while and you get into the hub or wherever it's located, it can feel overwhelming trying to find the right resource for where you're at right now. And I want to eliminate that friction and really create a great pathway for everybody who joins because people are joining at different stages of business. And so what can we do that can help direct them to a masterclass in the replay section, a partner in our partnerships directory, to a training or one of the courses that we have for our members. So I have this idea to create a quiz that new members will take when they join that helps to put them in the exact place they should be and focusing on the right resources instead of getting overwhelmed by all the options. It's like if you could have a butler who is going to take the menu at Cheesecake Factory, which we all know is very big and super overwhelming, and actually pare it down to the five things that you will want to eat. And like knowing who you are and what you like, being like, screw that big menu. Here's exactly what I think you should focus on. It's like having something like that. And I think it's going to, first of all, just help the client journey, the customer journey, get people to where they're going faster and help people elevate their business quicker by eliminating that decision fatigue and that overwhelm of information. I also think that it can help our business with churn rate and help our business increase the longevity of a customer inside the program because they're not overwhelmed. They're there focusing on specific things that we suggest. And we can always look to have a quiz of like, now what? Now where do you go? I took a great course when I launched my coaching business, when I launched my online business. It was by Stu McLaren, and it's his membership course. And he talks about having a success path for your members. And that's essentially what this quiz will do is it will help our members slot them into a certain level of the success path where they fall. And so I'm really excited to launch that this year too.
Yeah, no, that one is a perfect one. I am such a fan of that use case, and
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it done a number of times. I like that it's like cross-sectional the way you're talking about it. It's like it could be a course and a blog and a video, like could be a variety of things. Amy Porterfield's had a podcast playlist quiz for a long time, and that
Yeah.
one's really cool where it just kind of recommends because I think she's on episode 700 something now. So kind of similar thing. And we run into this in our business. It's like you have such a portfolio of content after 10
Mm-hmm.
years. You're like, okay, well, it's a lot for somebody that's new coming in. So I'm a big fan of that use case. I do think that it would help with churn specifically. That would probably be the
Yep.
metric there because if people can get the help that they need or the resource they need at the right time, rather than because it's interesting, right? Like you have this stuff, but the fact that someone has to dig through things to find it might mean that they're just like, oh, they can't help me. That's like the
Mm-hmm.
assumption. But it's just like you're one step away from like, no, we have it, but you have to give it to them at the right time. So I think that'll
Yep.
do really well as well.
I think so too. I'm really excited about it. I'm excited for our members to get connected to the right resources, whether it's a free resource or a paid resource inside the community. I think it's going to be definitely a game changer for our members.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. As we wrap up here, where can people go to check out your current quiz and then also get on your email list so that they can see the new quizzes when they come out?
Yeah, I would love for you to go check out our quiz and use it to inspire you. The email sequences that come after the quiz landing page, also the results page, are all something for you to dig in and check out. We spend a lot of time, not just on the copy and the results, but also on the visual results of the results pages. And so you'll see the design of it all done in Show It. But you can go to CandiceCoppola.com/quiz to take my quiz. And if you want to learn more about me and my business, my website, CandiceCoppola.com. I also love to hang out on Instagram. I mostly share more like personal stuff on Instagram. So you can come hang out with me there too at Candice.Coppola.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. This was super helpful to me and I'm sure to our listeners. So thank you.
Oh, well, thanks so much for having me, Josh.